So it's been a while, but here we are again. It's been about 6 months, I think, since I worked on the car, and probably, I don't know when we last issued a video, but sometime in the spring. Sorry about that, but life gets in the way. There's been stuff going on. So where are we? Well, the car doesn't look an awful lot different from when you may have seen it last. We're working on the brakes, and the brakes have proved to be one of the most troublesome things ever. It's really unexpected, to be honest. The problem is not the brakes themselves, not the drums, the shoes and whatnot. It's the pipes, the brake pipes. Now there will be another couple of videos on brakes, but I just thought I'd send out a quick video about status and talking about flaring in particular. The kit I got from ESM to replace the pipes comes in two forms basically. The standard one, if you're not having a servo, so if you're simply replacing the original fit pipes. And all those pipes come with ends and nuts already flared, so it's basically bended and fitted. For the servo, when you're installing a servo, which I am in this car, you get an additional kit with extra lines in order to plumb in the servo. All well and good. Then the question becomes, where do you put the servo? Well, looked around on the internet, had lots of suggestions, lots of pictures as to where a servo might go. We decided to put it towards the front on the left hand side here, just about 6 inches away from the radiator on the exhaust side. Even though we had that additional kit from ESM to fit the servo, the brake lines are, of course, that come with the kit, a standard length. So it's very difficult to make sure you put the servo in such a place that the brake lines which are pre-made will fit. Inevitably you get to a situation where the lines need to be extended or shortened, and as soon as you do that, then you have to think about flaring the brake pipes yourself. Okay, fair enough. Never did that. Another voyage of discovery. There are various flaring tools that you can buy, and in a minute I'm going to show you what we bought. I say we, Ken and I, and how we experimented to get flares which I think are going to be okay, but not quite sure. We won't really know until we connect everything up, start pumping the brake pedal and bleeding, and then seeing whether we got any leaks. I think they're okay, but it's a bit difficult, we haven't done it before, to know just how good they should be. Various people on the internet have done tons of videos about how to flare brake lines. So yeah, I looked at a lot of those and decided on a kind of a medium price one, and I thought that would do it. Also, it has the advantage of being fairly small, so you can actually flare pipes on the car itself. We've had very mixed success. The most difficult thing has been to get consistent results with the flares. Some are good and some are just distorted beyond measure, and you just have to throw away. So we've done a lot of experimentation. Yesterday we bought a fairly cheap Harbour Freight kit, and we got even better results than the medium priced one. Anyway, we'll show you that in a minute. But first of all, I think I need to do some clear up on my bench here. Okay, so this is the flaring tool that I bought. It's basically this big block here. The block gets divided into two with these two bolts, like so. I'll just take it off completely, like so. There's a nut here in the end which holds the punch. It also comes with a handle, which can be quite useful if you want to use it under the car. I'll just put that to one side right now. But essentially, here's what you have. You'll take your brake line. Here we are. Here's a good piece. So you take your brake line here. You'll place it in there. The trick is to make sure. Put these bolts in. It's kind of loose, but anyway, you put the tube in. Now you start off by using this stop piece. You screw the stop piece in the end, like that. You put the brake line in as far as it will go. You can see there's a little access hole, as it were, or a view hole. and you can see that the pipe is up against the stop. So the position of the pipe is really important in the tool. So the stop is in, the pipe's up against there. We'll just hold that together. Screw that down. Okay, it's important that the pipe is gripped together like that. I look inside the hole again, I can see it's up against the stop. I can now remove the stop. Now what I do is, or what the tool comes with, is this punch. And to do a double flare, which is what you need on the car, you use one end first and then the other. They call it Operation 1 and Operation 2. So first you do Operation 1. Operation 1 is this end. You put some lubricant on it, you screw it in, keep on going until it flares the end of the pipe one way. It flares it open basically, and then when that's done you screw it back in the other side, Operation 2, which is the reverse of Operation 1. Pop it in, screw it home, and that should give you a nice flared pipe. Okay, sounds good in principle. What we found is using this exerted some turning motion on the pipe to the extent that it was distorted. This is copper nickel pipe, so it's more flexible than steel. Didn't try it on steel, but we're not using steel brake lines in the car. So we found that sometimes it would almost push the pipe around or tear it around to distort the end of the flare, so you didn't get a nice consistent flare. I've got some pictures I can show you of various experiments that we tried the tool with, and hopefully that's fairly visible. So the problem is it was inconsistent. We found that if you use the tool and once it's tied up against it, up against the pipe, if you turn it one flat at a time and then back off, then one flat and back off, and keep doing that, it lessened the impact of the distortion. It was less distorted. And we got one at the end of the pipe that's in the car now that we think is acceptable. But then we tried it again a couple of days ago and we found it is distorted again, even using that new method. So the problem is you just can't get a consistent result with it. Now this is the medium price one. I think this is about $45 or something like that. And it's the one I think is sold by Eastwood, so that's a good reputable company. And you can see these on Amazon. This one's made by Titan, but they look identical to those sold by Eastwood and every other manufacturer. Okay, that's the medium price one. Difficult to get consistent results. I'll put that to one side. Now there's a second type, and this is the one sold by Harbor Freight. It's also sold by many other people. It looks like that. I'll just open it up and show you how it works. So this is a double flaring toolkit. It basically consists of two pieces. You've got I guess you call it a clamping bar, which has various sizes for various sizes of pipe. This is the 3/16 pipe that we're using on the Morris. Oops. And it has this piece, which is where you use it to press the tool down onto the pipe itself. Now, this is very similar to one that's been sold for many years. It's awfully similar, as you can tell, to the one that Ken, my father-in-law, has, which he bought from Craftsman, I don't know, many years ago. This Craftsman one seems to be much better quality than this kind of chrome shiny one from Harbor Freight. We found that we got very average results with this bar, but better results with this bar, using the dies that are supplied in the kit. These are the little dies that actually press into the end of the brake pipe and create the flare. They have them for various sizes. This is the one that's used on the 3/16 pipe. So using a combination of good old Craftsman tool and the Craftsman piece, as you can see, it looks very similar, with the die, the double flaring die which came with the Harbor Freight tool, we managed to get some fairly decent results. I'll just show you how that works. Okay, so we take the tool here. There's only one way you should put the pipe in. You should put the pipe in at the chamfered end, That's what you're working on. Not this end, which is flush. You take the pipe, pop it in here, lightly tighten it down. The trick is to make sure the pipe protrudes from the clamp no more than the height of the height of the adapter or the die piece, like that. You tighten that down, you put the piece in, you then get this piece, let's see if I can get this, there we are. You then place the die in the brake pipe and you screw this down until the die is pretty much flush with the clamping tool. Once you've done that, you take that out and you actually use the pointed end here of this second piece to double flare the end of the brake pipe. Again, there's a lot of videos online as to how to do that. I might show you a video later of how exactly I did it. Anyway, using this, which is not meant to be the best tool, there are many brake flare videos that say don't use this one, either use the one I showed you before with the handle, or use a much more expensive one which costs about 200 bucks. I'll show you a picture of that now. This has the advantage that when you put the die in, it doesn't actually turn. There's no rotational force applied to the end of the pipe. I think that's the secret. So it's very fiddly to set up. Not very fiddly, but it can be fiddly to set up. But we did get some good consistent results with that. Let's see. I'll show you some pictures of what we managed to achieve. So you can get consistent results if you're careful, but it is a little fiddly. I think the problem with this type, the one I bought originally, the kind of what I call the medium price one, is that there's rotational force and that seems to distort the copper nickel pipe. The $200 one, which I don't have, I think that the advantage of that is it simply presses the die into the piece without any rotational force, and because it has a large lever, it just doesn't distort so much. Anyway, so that's what I found out. It's kind of trial and error. Using this type carefully, I think you can get good results. But we won't really know until we connect the pipes and put fluid through it. So there we are. So here's the status of the brake system right now. Here's what we've got. Got this long pipe down here, which is the one we're working on right now. That goes all the way to the back of the car. This I'm pretty pleased with. We got the servo in. We put this here just to, this is the engine tower, just to make sure we know what the clearances are. This pipe took a couple of days to do to get right. So basically you've got the feed from the master cylinder here, comes along into the servo. Servo does its magic. This is the output from the servo, goes to this point here. Now on several diagrams people use another connector further over here. We just thought it easier to use a banjo next to the four-way here. This is where the brake switch goes. So you've got one piece going off to the left front wheel, you've got this going off to the right hand wheel, and you've got this, the brake pipe coming from the rear will connect right here. So that's the theory. So obviously we've got to do some more bending. I'll just take you under the car to show you where we stand there. Okay, so we're under the car looking forward. The master cylinder is in here. I've just put it in temporarily. Here's the output from the master cylinder that goes forward to the servo. This is the rear brake pipe which we're working on right now. Let me just move the light back. It starts basically here. So here's the flexi that comes from the bracket above the diff. There's the flexi. Here's the connection. This is the one we had some trouble with. We think we got a fairly good flare on that one. He says fairly good. And then it simply runs along the bottom of the floor here. And then because it's a left-hand drive car, it has to go over the body cross member. So there's a bend here. There's a couple of brackets which will screw in here to hold that pipe. Now here, we could have taken it through this 2-inch hole, but I know the fuel pipe's going to go through there. So we decided to drill a hole in the cross member here. There is a rubber sleeve on the other side there. We'll push that through, just so we didn't have to bend it so many times. Just seemed like an easier thing to do. And then it comes out on the engine side of the body cross member. The fuel will go there, the fuel line will go there. So we're going to clip this to the chassis rail. It's not going to go through the gearbox cross member, it's going to go over like this pipe. So it'll be a bend here, take it over the gearbox cross member, and then down the other side, down towards the servo, right there at the end. That's the plan. So stay tuned.